Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just a fly and I as a watchman around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war and cry. Fight down, me say Rastafari. War and cry and do that righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Yeah, we love Jah. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Preserve all people. Put time away again. Listen. Yeah. Just as I and I as a watchman, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace while we are penalized. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down, war and cry. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. And we love Jah, me love Jah, me love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. Me love Jah. Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ.
Good evening, and welcome. Have the PNP join the singing choir of the new Patses. And can the PNP provide us any more effective opposition than they are providing us? And a question I want to ask, is the 28 any more effective than the 14? Good evening, welcome to Global TV. Thank you all for joining us this evening. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening and welcome. They are at it in Parliament at the moment. Darrell Vaz has made a statement on the energy and all that he's stealing. And then there is a back and forth in he's actually quarreling at the moment. Daryl Vaz is actually quarreling at the moment. We don't even know what he's quarreling about because we have him on mute. But he's having a fulsome get off in our parliament at the moment. But we're going to look back at the People's National Party press conference for those of you who may not have watched it. Or even if you have watched it, we want to have our own a bit of say on it. There was information that we got out of it. I don't want to say that there were any new and surprising information. It's the same old, but the game seems to have stepped up. Is that all? They plan to provide us a more ongoing press conference because Parliament doesn't allow them. Let me hear what Daryl war about.
Mr. Speaker, 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 Mr. Speaker,
members,
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
members, all minister, members.
Back to the Sirawa, the coming to quarreling broke out in the Parliament.
You are a wicked and evil.
Hey, hallelujah.
Bad mind don't go on yet from September 3rd.
Members,
are those parliamentary language?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Minister, all members. Members from the opposition side.
You are an uncaring set.
If you do,
a heartless set.
If you do not allow the minister to continue, then we will have to go to something else. Please, you do not have the floor. Member from St. Catherine North Central, you do not have the floor.
Mr. Speaker.
You will find out in short.
Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead, Minister.
The $150 million that the government is prepared to release as soon as the documentation is in place, which will be no later than a matter of hours to a day, because of the urgency, is specific for restoration over 2 months, December and January. That $150 million is ring-fenced to deal with a restoration program that will take care of Jamaica, not only some parishes. And if you are going to tell me that there are people in this house that would question a government in a crisis like this to hold $150 million that we have availability now to find out about $200 million, which can take another month or 6 weeks. Our money is secured whichever way it goes. We are a responsible government, and we have taken a responsible decision, a caring decision, an argument done.
That's so
So you're asking the question, can we better start with it? So Mr. Speaker, the position is, this matter is fluid. This is a cabinet decision that was taken yesterday. We are going to wait until we have the final agreement between the Ministry of Finance and the JPS. And whenever that happens, we will make it public in Parliament to show the people of Jamaica what the final terms and conditions are. But for somebody to stand up in Parliament, knowing what is taking place out there, and is prepared to take a position to delay restoration, they will be judged by the people of this country. Yes, here.
All right.
Minister. I want you to remain focused and answer the questions that are posed to you, please. Member from St. Andrew South Eastern, you have the floor.
Minister, the JPS has said that they estimate that the damage is 350 million. You are providing 150 million. Are you comfortable that the 150 million that the government is going to loan can provide the full restoration for all the parishes in the time frame that you have indicated? Right? By end of hold on. Right? My second question, and I will ask you to ask your colleague who is sitting beside you. When will the Parliament get a statement from the Minister of Finance which outlines all the monies that we have gotten from the insurances, the monies that we are negotiating with our multilateral agencies, IMF, World Bank, IDB? We know that we have an estimate of US $8 billion. It is anticipated we can probably raise 1 billion US. Where is that shortfall going to come from? What are those funds going to be used for? We are 4 weeks after the hurricane, and the Minister of Finance is yet to come to the Parliament and tell us how much money we have, how the funds are going to be used. And every other minister can speak, can say many things, but if the Ministry of Finance cannot speak, right? So my question, Minister, do you believe 150 can cover the full restoration in the time?
Question at a time. Just make him answer question. Make him answer.
Let me see if I'm going to sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Hold on, let's see. Because I'm going to monitor them and
Minister,
over
I'm going
here.
no. Minister, I'm going to ask you, are you willing to have all questions posed at once and then you answer, or are you going to take them one at a time?
You have to take them one at a time. You can't write them.
No, you have to tell me no because I'm going to rule. One at a time.
Yes, you can do better.
Are you going to answer the member from St. Andrew Eastern, sorry?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I only have to answer one question out of two, and that's a question that relates to the JPS negotiation. And he asked me whether I'm confident that the 150 can do what it is said to do in the 2 months, and the answer is yes. Secondly, he asked about whether or not I'm confident of the additional money, and I will make a statement here to say we will work with JPS in whichever way, shape, or form that is required, if it means that we are to benefit the people of Jamaica in the shortest possible time. All options are open for discussion. All options. But we are not going to wait to get a fulsome, complete in a time of crisis. 150 is what we need for 2 months to get January morning, February morning, restoration as against May, June. If anybody can question that in Jamaica today with what we are going through, then they are wicked people.
Don't you think they're deaf?
Member from Clarendon Southwestern.
Don't you think they're deaf?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the minister aware that one of the major partners of the
Hold on, just
to
listen to a few of these questions before we move on to the PNP press conference. But we're really
they want to withdraw from the JPS agreement, the current agreement that they have, right? One of the international partners. And having regard to that fact, is the minister still prepared to go ahead with this loan of 150 million US, having regard to the fact that one of the partners of JPS has indicated that they want to withdraw from the agreement? It's an important question.
Thank you. Oh. Mr. Speaker, it is a matter, Babsy.
Not meant to do that either.
Mr. Speaker,
Minister Grange.
it is a matter of. It is a matter of public.
The chair is not being ruled. He's not supposed to call Babsy by her first name.
International knowledge that Maribweni, who owns 40%, indicated months ago that they are 40%.
Obviously, they are not listening, Minister. Give them some time. Go ahead now.
It's a matter of public record, international record, that Maribweni took a decision to divest their 40% in JPS. They came and saw the government of Jamaica and expressed that. This also, when the letter of the government in terms of the position that we took with the license, they came back to us to indicate that based on that, nobody will be prepared to buy 40% of a company that have 2 years on a license. So we are on the same path in relation to going down the road to get a negotiated license one way or the other so that they can then do what they need to do. But as of right now, they are in it for the next 2 years because they don't have any ability to sell. So that has no inference or nothing to do with what we are planning to do now. So answer to his question, yes, long time.
Be a bullying, though. A bear bullying a go on, but we're going to pause.
Can we?
Who else has asked a question? Let me see if somebody worthwhile.
House leader. House leader.
No, really want to hear Flat Green right now. I was sacrifice St. Elizabeth. Right. Let's go over now to today's press conference from the choir of the new singing Patsies, which they promised to bring us more press conference, which is the way they're going to communicate with us, which it was one of what we expected from them. But can they provide us any more robust opposition is one of my questions. Are we being served well by the 28? Is there a more effective service from the 28 than we had with the 14? Antoma Golden, Lego the people them. Because Andrea, Jess, Dr. Daz, them people that want to jump out of their skin and rebel in a Mount Golden. But it's the uptown politics, the nice dress up politics, now go work. Now go work. You have to fight a dog like a dog. You have to fight a dog like a dog. That's why when dogs see puss normally take host up our tree. Because puss and dog not really fight so well together. And we get devoured. Look at the people that Mount Golden. The people that want to come out of their skin. People that want to come out of their skin and tackle Andrew. Lego the people them. All right? The uptown politics now work right here now. Maybe at a later stage, Mark Golden. Maybe at a later stage. But for right now, the uptown galangin now go work. You notice how the country in a rubble, sir? You notice how the country in a slug and rubble and mud. So the uptown politics now got to work you know. We have to get a bit of rough and tumble in it. We're going to listen to the press conference. I'm going to step up a few bit because we're going to listen to particular people, but there's a nasty politics being played when you listen to them. A very nasty politics is being played with members of parliament, the People's National Party members of parliament in Western Jamaica, from St. Elizabeth to Westmoreland to Hanover to St. James. A nasty piece of politics is being played with government, with donor resources and all that. The money is being held on to. Basically, I think all these MP need to tell the government, stick the $10 million, because the $10 million will create more problem and frustration than it meant to help. Let's start listening to the press conference because we got a lot of speakers. And if you have not heard some of them, but we want to analyze a few bits of them. But there comes a time when we're going to have to take to the street in Jamaica. If the Jamaica Labour Party continue with this bullying of everything, which they don't plan to roll back based on how we see them forward direction and them behavior, we're going to have to take to the street. I think Ian Hales give them a warning today, as I've been giving the government. Handle this thing carefully, because it will broke out. It will broke out like a nasty sore. Andrew Older, you want me to tell you to stop strike the matches? Prime Minister, you want me to tell you to stop strike the matches? You never see the cursing pana cursing I'll turn over on the floor, sir. Stop strike the matches. Stop it.
From our members of parliament in the constituencies and parishes that were hardest hit by the hurricane. And it is important that factual information be provided.
Date as to where we are in terms of Eastern Westmoreland and what has been done and what we are recommending to be done. So Eastern Westmoreland is where you would find New Hope, which is where landfall was made. And I believe it is the only constituency where the eye of the storm went across all of the constituency as a Category 5 hurricane. It
No, sir, you're
left
not
a
the south of
trail of
St. Elizabeth.
devastation
Just
and
the south.
disaster.
Not the south.
And we have estimated that approximately 5,000 houses have been totally destroyed. I'm not referring to houses that were damaged. I'm talking about those that are totally destroyed, just rubble remaining. We have countless others that suffered significant damage, moderate damage, and mild damage to the infrastructure. In terms of churches, schools, police station, health centers, all of those were also severely damaged and non-functional in the immediate wake of the hurricane. This, I believe, makes us one of the hardest it is. And
Sharon Bernard, how you do?
currently, there
Welcome.
is a need for urgent intervention, especially in the area of housing and temporary housing solution for the residents. The response has been inadequate, delayed, and sometimes even inappropriate in my mind. And I say this because one would expect that coming out of a hurricane of this magnitude, that having made landfall in the constituency, that would have seen mobilization of government ministries, departments, and agencies to that area and intervention being made to deal with the issues confronting the people. I want to thank, though, members of the private sector, the private companies, private individuals, non-governmental organizations, including GEM Foundation, Samaritan's Purse, World Central Kitchen, Mercy Chefs. Had it not been for some of these groups, I don't know what would have happened to the residents of Eastern Westmoreland, because they have stepped in a big way to ensure that some of the things that are needed have been done thus far. We benefited from a visit of some of the CARICOM leaders, and President Ali out of Guyana committed to doing 200 roofs for some of the affected residents between Bluefields and White House. And in putting together the meeting, to JDF and Ministry of Labor and ODPEM called the meeting, they said they wanted to welcome the two members of parliament. Now, there is no constituency in Jamaica that actually has two members of parliament at once. And what I find uneasy about this situation is the comfort in which the government is inserting their political operatives in the response mechanism and bypassing, circumventing the elected officials. I represent all of the constituents of Eastern Westmoreland. I have absolutely no interest in how they voted. This is a humanitarian crisis. It is not a political matter. And as elected officials, we have to be involved and consulted in the process because we know the communities, we know the areas, we know the people. Even in relation to the distribution of aid, to just have the JDF alone going into a committee, into a community is not sufficient because they won't know the lay of the land, they won't know the residents, and as such, that has left a lot of gaps. So I want to point out specifically some things now. Shelter. The shelters that are in the constituency, they have been inappropriate from the beginning and they continue to be inappropriate. There isn't a bed or a cot or anything in any of the shelters. To be frank, there are persons that are not even aware that some of the shelters are still open with over 20 persons in each one of them. And that means if you're not aware, you couldn't possibly be making any provisions for the residents within those shelters. The persons who are in the shelters are obviously the most vulnerable. They don't have anywhere to stay. They don't have any relatives to stay with. And that's the reason why they're at the shelter. And I realize that the Ministry of Education has also taken on an initiative to reopen schools as soon as possible, which I support because we want to decrease the learning loss. But in moving the persons from these shelters, majority of which are schools, so that school can reopen. Certainly, we can't just move them without making provision for them to stay elsewhere. In terms of emergency evacuation and shelter, housing of these persons, we have not seen any of those tents that are supposedly in the country that should be made available. I'm told that it was said in the Senate on Friday that tents went to Dayton Campbell, unless there is another Dayton Campbell that represents somewhere in Jamaica. It's certainly not this one. I have not been made aware of any tents. And I want to be on record as saying, I will never support moving out the persons out of the shelter unless we make provision for them. I will block it myself personally. That is inhumane. And we have to do better. So yes, we want the schools to open, but we must make adequate provision before we move the persons out of the shelters. We have, in looking at how we respond to the housing crisis, there are still persons that are under tarpaulin, still persons that are on a sheet of zinc. You still see mothers and children just under a sheet of zinc or on a piece of tarpaulin, right? There are still houses without tarpaulin that are yet to be covered. I have so far been told of allocations to the constituency, $3 million for cleaning in the prep work before the hurricane came. And that is after we made advocacy for some allocation because initially we were told that Western Jamaica is not a priority and there was no allocation. Then there was an allocation of $1.5 million that was made twice. So that's another $3 million. That was to get care packages and tarpaulins. Now, if you get a care package and you put $5,000 worth of supplies in it, that would only get you 600 care packages for a constituency with over 40,000 persons. Then there's an allocation of $10 million for housing. And I've said it elsewhere that the Welcome to Montego Bay sign is $17 million. And we are given an allocation of $10 million in a constituency where 5,000 homes were totally destroyed. It is totally insufficient to meet the need that is there. And there is $3 million to RADA, which we have not been able to access as yet. That for a constituency where landfall was made, that has the majority of deaths, that has several persons still in shelters, several persons homeless, 5,000 houses destroyed, is totally insufficient in terms of governmental response to the crisis that is there. We have been able, through Samaritan's person, I want to give Minister Tufton credit because despite our history of having confrontations in the parliament, he's the only minister of government that has informed me of his visit and involved me in his visit to the constituency. Others have said they're coming, but they have not actually made an attempt to ensure that we can actually connect whilst they are within the constituency. Their Starlink seems to malfunction when they are in Eastern Westmoreland. But we've been able to set up a field clinic in White House, and GEM Foundation has been able to re-roof the health center in Betheltown, White House, and in Darliston, and thus we're able to offer some medical care. There's still a significant gap, and MP Dawes is here that will speak to some of the health-related concerns, but there's still a significant gap where healthcare is concerned, and even just the disposal of human waste. It can't be that difficult for a country to put some portable toilets in a constituency that has been devastated.
Prime Minister, I regularly call upon you on this. Westmoreland in particular and St. Elizabeth, Prime Minister, we borrow a few of the portable toilet and hand wash stations from Ghana. We're not sure if nobody else send them there, but we sure say Ghana send portable toilet and portable hand wash stations. Those Prime Minister ought to be in the disaster zone. Not save and put on Prime Minister for when you have on a property development, you put them on a construction site for workers and all of that. From the time them coming to the country, Prime Minister, they should have been distributed to the zones where people just defecate in the open air with no ending sight around them of gaining back a little, whatever you call it, around them, sanitation. We know these things came into the country, Prime Minister. All right, make it so the Jamaica government broke and we don't have the money to buy them. Make it so the Jamaica government broke, Prime Minister, and we don't have money to buy them. Ghana, the Gold Coast, Western Africa, send them portable toilets and portable hand wash station. Why is there no portable hand wash station and portable toilet in the worst hit zones such as St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, Prime Minister? In these zones where people are homeless and displaced, Prime Minister, people are gracing the element like animals, Prime Minister. Why on earth the portable toilets and hand wash station from Ghana, if they've left the Adpem warehouse, then probably they're in a one or no store or no so up in hardware and electronic store, Jamaica no not help me look out. No not help me look out Jamaica for the hardware and electronic store where they soon open. Some of them are soon open supermarket, because Ghana send a lot of cocoa product. Them send cassava, they call it Gary, cassava. Hmm? Only pagalangin. You go see shops after shops after shops after shops. And like a oldness wanting economy fi spin over like gig. Hmm? You don't see say all this man care about his profit. All no wholeness God G Humochi. Cause Donald Trump never go, Xi Jinping never go, so you have to call it G Humochi here now. Wholeness God the G Humochi and wholeness never have a concern about where we are go to. Wholeness tell them, don't I they're ripe for investment. You know, my case come, I could carve up piece, go to Holy Palanda, Westmoreland. But to the people of Westmoreland in particular, do you know that Melissa is speaking to you? Because Melissa is so disgruntled and aggressive and tant and boorish and all of that. But Melissa is actually speaking to you. Melissa is saying to particularly you, the people of Western Westmoreland or Western Jamaica, of Westmoreland or indeed Western Jamaica, it's time for you to demand meaningful land reform. It's time for you to demand a piece of the real estate that your prime minister went to South Africa and tell them it's ripe down here. Hmm? The piece of real estate that your prime minister told them in South Africa, come and shake the grape tree. All fruit ripes down a yard. Hmm? It is time for you demand a piece of that real estate now. It's now or never. You're not understanding the messages of Melissa. It is now or never. Because remember, so the land agency a carve up what belong to them and what don't belong to them yet, you know. And what member say, remember, oh, we're dealing with a government who is not afraid to walk around with his bulldozer and pull things down. You are aware of that, aren't you? And you do remember that, don't you? Hmm? That we are playing with a government who is not afraid to use a bulldozer when he wants things. So, Melissa is saying to you, the people of Western Jamaica, especially those of you in Westmoreland, it is time to demand meaningful land reform. We must get a piece of this real estate called Jamaica. If they manage to push you off that land, they are going to ghettoize you further. Hmm? If they manage to push you off that land, they're going to further ghettoize you because you'll end up even in a more cramped, unstable environment, probably not suitable for human consumption. So one of the things we must learn from Melissa is meaningful land reform so we can erect secure dwelling to protect us in the zone that we live in from the death and destruction we kill this girl like Melissa come with. Hmm? We must not miss this opportunity for land reform, Jamaica. If we miss this opportunity, this is our last chance. And if we miss this opportunity, that's it.
So at least we can discard of human waste in a safe and appropriate way. The distribution system that is there is also dysfunctional. We cannot have persons just driving into a constituency and just going randomly into areas without no form of logistics workout. There needs to be a contact point in each division. We are not trying to commandeer what people are bringing. I'm not saying to persons you can't take things to your community or to your family. I'm simply saying that we should know so we don't have duplication of the efforts. And what is happening currently is that people are on the main and they receive several times over. Then we have sick, indigent, disabled, those in the more remote parts of the constituency that are not benefiting. You would have seen the exchange in Parliament about the number of care packages distributed. You can't go to a community one time in 20 days when this food package is slated to last for just 3 to 4 days. What is expected of those persons for the additional time, right? So there needs to be a proper structure that is placed that ensures that relief item can go to those areas. We've proposed the Adopt a Family initiative to give accommodation to some persons using containerized housing. And I want to thank the persons who have contributed to that thus far. And we've been able to deliver 6 units, and we have another 6 that are ordered and ready to be distributed. This is intended to be a temporary solution, the simplest thing in the short term. It is not a proposal for us to have a constituency with pure containerized houses across the of the constituency. We want the situation in Westmoreland in terms of land tenureship to be regularized. We had put a proposal on the own government land to move it from 6 years to 25 years. That's something that the government should immediately take on, right? To ensure that we can give the lands to the persons and that they can, some of them can build their own structures that can withstand hurricane. And the government as well should look at low income solutions on government lands for these persons. The aim is not to have board houses being rebuilt because that's an invitation.
Dayton, careful where you ask for. Let me take that for you tonight. Careful where you ask for. You ask the government to build low income home. You see Edmund Ridge Estate? Have you seen Edmund Ridge Estate, Dayton Campbell? Careful where you ask
For a second disaster. The CEO of JPS was with us a few days ago, and he stated that the videos and the pictures don't do justice, and that it is total devastation, and it's time to rebuild the infrastructure. He said they will have to be creative, and he has proposed that we may need to get a generator in Darliston and one in White House so that we can at least power the police station, the health centers, and those things. A lot of persons are not cognizant of what is going on out in the western end of the country. Eastern Westmoreland is not what it used to be. The lives of the residents has been severely affected, and it will take a long time for them to return to normalcy. I know people are in a haste to move on, but in your haste to move on, do not forget that you have brothers and sisters that are.
When you look on Dayton Campbell, you can see saying Lock sleep. I think Slide Green is sleeping well though.
Are on the fringes of survival. They are suffering and they need assistance urgently. Thank you very much.
Right, we're going to skip doing VARs because we're more
Thank you,
likely know
Dr.
we're doing
Campbell.
VARs
We're here now from the Member of Parliament for
the
Central
regular.
Westmoreland, MP,
But let's
MP
go
Ian
over to
Hales.
Think Ian Hales. No.
Thank you, Leader of the Opposition, fellow colleague, members of Parliament. Good afternoon. Good morning. I want to first start off by thanking the charitable organizations that have come on board and have played a role in this hurricane. They have done more than the government. And I'm ashamed to say that I represent a constituency.
I'll take a break here. I want to go back to Parliament. The demon is speaking, and I'm desperate to hear what he's talking about, given he just came back. Bear with
And the
me,
cost of
globalists.
recovery activities, that which we have spent on getting the electricity grid, the water grid, and telecommunications.
Gloria Maris,
and it does not yet reflect economic losses that will follow the disruption in key sectors. So, for example, while it accounts for the physical damage of a hotel, it does not account for the loss of revenues from the temporary closure of the impact.
He's just so
Mr. Speaker,
centered on the
one of the
economy.
most severe and underreported impacts is the massive volume of debris generated by Hurricane Melissa. According to satellite-based analysis conducted by the United Nations Development Program, the storm left over 4.8 million tons of debris across the island. This debris is blocking roads, hindering access to schools and hospitals, farms and markets, slowing relief distribution, and delaying the restoration of essential services. The UNDP estimates that the debris is equivalent to approximately 480,000 standard truckloads, consisting of 2.1 million tons of building and construction debris, 1.3 million tons of vegetation waste, 1.4 million tons of personal property, and mixed household debris. These are minimum estimates and will increase as ground assessment continues. Compared to major hurricanes worldwide, Hurricane Melissa now ranks amongst the most extreme debris generating storms ever on record. And there are analyses that are already being done on this, Mr. Speaker, which would compare, for example, the debris generated in Hurricane Katrina, the debris generated in Hurricane Irma, and other hurricanes relative to Jamaica. And of course, there are suggestions regarding the type of building material used, where people chose to live. But there is also another factor which we have not yet assessed, but needs to be assessed. The damage went through the cockpit country.
Bear with me, the Annie Jones.
And therefore, some of our prime forests were destroyed. The leaves of every tree in the path was stripped and the trees broken. So the devastation of the primary forest has not yet been assessed. So when the satellites are doing the imagery, what they are picking up is a lot of that debris mass, which accounts for why it is so large. In the other areas, the storms did not affect primary forests as the way it has. 51%, I'm told, of our primary forests has been affected. So in other hurricanes in other countries, it has not affected their forests in the way that it has affected ours, our cockpit country. So it's an area that we will have to look at, but it's not the primary subject of today's statement. Mr. Speaker, we must act urgently and strategically to address this unprecedented challenge. It is important to note that at this time of the year, we traditionally launch our annual mitigation and cleanup exercise, constituency-based, in preparation for the Christmas season. Today, I wish to inform this Honorable House that the government has approved budgetary allocations for the National Cleanup Program, which will incorporate the annual constituency-based mitigation and cleanup program. $10 million per constituency has been allocated under the National Constituency.
Pussy, I don't see you don't slack on there, you can't count me and 10. I want to pussy hole, yeah? You can't count me and 10? No, sir.
Constituency-based mitigation program. The allocation will be broken down as follows: $2 million for drain and waterway cleaning and vector control to reduce the spread of pests and disease, $5 million for de-embushing, and $3 million for debris and waste removal. This investment is not only routine seasonal maintenance, it will neatly dovetail into a broader program of cleaning and debris management. Additional funding will be provided to the 16 most affected constituencies across Westmoreland, 3 constituencies, Hanover, 2 constituencies, St. James, 5 constituencies, Trelawney, 2 constituencies, and St. Elizabeth, 4 constituencies. Beyond these parishes, other severely affected communities island-wide will also be targeted. So there is a constituency-based, parish-based targeting, but then we will go more granular to specific communities in other parishes which have been affected. Mr. Speaker, we believe that this is the most equitable and efficient way of using the resources In other words, we are targeting the resources to the areas of greatest need. This program will employ, just to be clear, Mr. Speaker, this is the program which is our national cleanup program, which represents the additional funding that we are placing on the table. So this program will employ between 100 and 200 persons per constituency. So in the 16 constituencies named, in addition to areas in other constituencies affected, we will employ between 100 to 200 persons to assist with the cleanup. The Social Development Commission will oversee.
Anyway, we go back to the press conference, but we monitor him, and if we need to come back, may come back to him.
That we're a part of the government, we're a part of the country. And at the same time, private sector, private individuals, charitable organizations have done more than the government of the land. 1 month, it's almost a month, I think today is a month that we went through the hurricane. 4 weeks from now, it is Christmas. I have over 1,000 homes that have been lost, gone, and probably around 5,000 to 6,000 other citizens that the Hurricane Melissa have affected. And I ask myself the question every day as a member of parliament, and I know my colleagues do also, when we get up in the morning. How are you going to help all of these 6 to 7, 10,000 Jamaicans that have been affected? And in terms of the assessment that is going on, I called last week, I spoke to an individual, I spoke to the manager, and I asked a question. I said, are there any assessment that is taking place in Western Westmoreland? And the answer is yes, they went to 2 areas. And I said, tell me the 2 areas that you went to. And he listed the 2 areas. And those 2 areas were not the 2 areas that were basically the areas that were damaged beyond recognition. And I see where the assessment now that is taking place in communities that didn't, that basically supported the Jamaica Labour Party. All I'm saying is we can't do things so ad hoc. We are all in this together.
And this is one of the reasons why the Jamaica Labour Party bring out all their caretaker MPs and councillors and them senators, because it is just about serving JLP areas in this relief effort. And this is why people like Juliet, Delroy Chuck, Desmond McKenzie, and all of those that are going into Jess constituency, because they're catering to labor rights and making sure Jess don't get nothing to cater to nobody at all.
That both PNP.
So then when election come, they can have it for use to say, remember when Melissa, the PNP, them never do anything for no. But the nation are watching no. So when I sabotage the PNP, them in all of them constituency that got hit.
LP, non-P, we are in this together as a country. And, you know, I want to get back to the assessment though, because the assessment leaves a lot of questions. It is said that you have volunteers that are volunteering to do the assessment across the constituencies that are damaged. I've asked the question, who are these volunteers? What are the criteria / requirement for each volunteer? So that even if we can put some individuals, civil society, church, and individuals, put them forward so that they can help in terms of speeding up the assessment. Look, I just think if we don't put back some of these Jamaicans, even give them a roof over their head between now and Christmas, we're going to face some headwinds in this country that we have never faced before. And why do I say that?
Prime Minister. take this as a warning. Similar warning have been given to you. If the people don't get the meaningful help that they see bailing into the country in money and in aid, it might not go down well.
To every home you go to in the country, people, there's a level of frustration that I've never seen before. People have lost everything. And there's the frustration is, when are we going to get some help? You can't look at me as a member of parliament and say, you know what, pick 100 of your citizens. And when you pick the 100 citizens, what about the rest? That going to turn against me as member of parliament? What about those individuals? Because they need help too. How do you go ahead and pick the 100 to give 100,000? For me, I'm doing mine a little different. I'm giving each church one individual within that community that has been severely affected. I don't look at this thing as political PNP, JLP. So the church is going to get involved along with myself in terms of ensuring that we can pick 100 of our citizens. But picking 100 from 9 or 8,000 that have been affected, it's very difficult. You know, in terms of distribution, I've gone through the last couple of weeks disappointed as a Jamaican and as a representative of the people. You see ministers of government come in. You see ministers of government come in, you see government entity comes in. And they go to a particular area that you don't have damage in some of those areas that they go to give out, to distribute food to our citizens. All I'm
This is the uptown politics that is getting to me with the PNP and Mark Golden's leadership and the uptownism. The government is not willing to cooperate with you in the handling of the disaster. Many of the constituency hit, all of the constituency in Westmoreland, constituency in Hanover, constituency in St. Elizabeth. The government is unwilling to cooperate with you, to bring you on board, to be equitable in the distribution. Why is the PNP still going to Parliament to support the government? Yes, if the PNP doesn't go to Parliament, they can go there and do their talking shop, but they can't vote on anything because of the 2/3 majority that they requires. Why is the PNP still supporting them? What is the option other than press conference? We saw that they led the nation in protest in the Dennis Galangin. They led the nation in protest in the appointment of Dennis Chung or whatever I name. The PNP cannot continue to support the government when the government will not cooperate with you, will not support your MP who is hit by the disaster as much as his MPs. Even in those areas, they are catering particularly to labor rights only. This nasty political play where Dana go and Macadam and everybody did jump down pan with pan. Now it's open played by the government. We don't hear none of them people that come out and say anything. But why is the PNP still supporting the government in Parliament? Because they can't vote on anything if they don't have the PNP support. And the government now supported them. All right. Let's listen.
saying is, look, we have to do better as a country. We have to do better as a government. It can't continue. It can't continue the way it has been going. people in their well, in my constituency, I don't know, since the hurricane, we've been getting a lot of rain. And most of our citizens are without a roof, without tarpaulin, just basically fending on their own. Can't help themselves, can't do nothing. And even if the food packages that are going around being distributed, people have gone out, they get one food package, I would say probably around 3-4 weeks ago, and they haven't gotten any more help from the government. So there's no assessment. Uh, Food package is only 600 per MP. Thank God for the charitable organization. But look, I just want to appeal to the government. I just want to appeal to the government. Come on board with the elected officials. The elections are over. The elections are over. And this crisis allow you to think as a human and not as wear a hat as a political representative. It is that hard. There's a level of hardship that is in Western Jamaica. And I just want to say, look, make we ensure that over the next 4 weeks, we can ensure that we put as much Jamaicans back in their home with their roofs. We have to do that as a country. It can't continue, so. Make we ensure we help some of these individuals, whether PNP or JLP. Make we get together, government and opposition, working together in ensuring that we can serve the people of Western Westmoreland and the areas that have been damaged. Make we just stop all this foolishness now. You can't come in my constituency. And when you come in the constituencies, when you leave, you're going to tell me. Or when you reach, you're going to tell me. And then you're going to say, you know what? I'll leave 25 bags of food around the corner for you. It can't continue, sir. And then you're going to look for me now. And when I ask you the
All
question,
right, we're
when
going
I
to
ask
jump over.
the two areas that you assess, how you assess those two areas,
We're
what
going
are
to
the
jump
criteria, what are
over
the
to
strategy? And then you turn to me and then you say,
what's him call it? We're going to jump over to Andrea Perkis because she got burning issues as well. Nothing is working. And this is one of the international community frustration where they're sending so much money and all these things, but not seeing it getting underground to the people. Let's move over to Andrea Perkis.
Thank you, MP Miller Bennett. We're going to hear from the other member of parliament in Hanover, and she has been advocating relentlessly for her people. I welcome Member of Parliament Andrea Perkis.
Good morning, everyone. Party President Mark Golding, my colleagues, to the viewers. For the people of Eastern Hanover, the date October 28th marked the beginning of a crisis that continues weeks later. Let me be clear about what Hurricane Melissa did to Eastern Hanoverians, because the scale of devastation has been systematically underreported and in many cases completely ignored by the media coverage. Every single board house in Eastern Hanover has been affected, damaged, destroyed. Approximately not 2,000, 5,000 houses are without roofs. Every farm in the constituency suffered severe damage. Half of our health centers sustained significant structural damage. Our schools, our schools are so badly affected. This morning, I got a call from the principal of Brownsville Primary, and she asked me who is responsible for the persons in the shelters. Her name is Miss Bucknell. She has started school last week because parents are not able to help the children at home and prepare them for exams that are coming in a few months. And so she rushed to open Brownsville Primary, and I understand. But she's crying out for help because she cannot be the person that is responsible for the persons that are now staying in the shelter. So I'm asking government to pay attention to the schools. All of our schools have been affected. Most of the schools in Eastern Hanover, they have no roof. Residents in Chigwell, Forest, Woodsville, and other areas were trapped for weeks. There is a man-made bridge in Woodsville from 2022. That bridge was partially collapsed. It was in 2023, it went down for good. The residents are in dire need of attention from government. That man-made bridge was destroyed again. And so the residents of the Woodsville area, they're asking for urgent attention. Water supplies were contaminated. I myself was marooned in Cascade. Residents, though, came out and assisted us. And that is a pattern that I've noticed since Hurricane Melissa, that residents have taken it upon themselves to do the work of government because the parish of Hanover has not been included in many things, especially where relief is concerned.
This is where you're going to find a lot of the big steal. Because when the government, all of these work that people does on the ground when it comes to clearing their roads, cleaning up their community, the government and the parish council go put it on pan budget, say they do it. Yeah. They go put it on pan budget, say them do the cleaning up. And it go in a somebody pocket. The great big steal is here, Jamaica. So keep on an eye focus on them.
The morning after the hurricane, residents assisted me in cleaning 18 miles of roadways so I could get to the main road to coordinate relief efforts. I want to address the government's response or lack thereof. It is true that affected constituency received $10 million. Many of my colleagues have done the math. For housing, it is not adequate. We have a number of houses in Hanover. From my balcony, I am looking at 3 houses that are flat, 5 without roof. The people of Eastern Hanover, they've had to seek comfort living under tarps. That's not good enough. We need help from government. We need ministers to come in and be on the ground as they were before the election. The people of Eastern Hanover, they're demanding your presence. The question I must ask, and the question every Jamaican should be asking, if the allocation on paper is equal, why is help actually reaching our residents so dramatically unequal? Where is the relief going? Why are communities still waiting? Government response has been extremely slow in Eastern Hanover. Corporate Jamaica, though, has stepped up. Companies like Flow Red Stripe, CM Recycling Company Limited, Trial Hotel, and Billboard King Foundation have provided more immediate, tangible relief than government agencies. Our diaspora family responded with urgency and generosity. And I must thank PNP leadership, former Prime Minister PJ Patterson, a proud Hanoverian, along with President Mark Golding and MPs Anthony Hilton and Julian Robinson, who have been mobilizing assistance, and some of them have been on the ground providing moral support to our traumatized communities. Eastern Hanover is facing a public health crisis that needs immediate intervention. Western Jamaica has already confirmed 11 cases of leptospirosis since Hurricane Melissa. And that's a deadly waterborne disease. I spoke of waterborne diseases 2 weeks ago in Parliament, still no attention. And on behalf of the citizens of Eastern Hanover, I want to ask the question, what is the purpose of elected representatives going to Parliament and voicing the concerns of the citizens without any notes being taken or any attention being paid to these citizens? There is literally now a mountain of garbage.
Can you imagine Jamaica in the middle of the worst disaster we've ever had? The government divides the country on political line, and we're not allowed to ask any question. We're not allowed to call them out. We're not allowed to talk about it. The government have no structure, no plan. This is why none of the tents from Japan or any of the other country have been utilized to move people out of the muck and gore. This is why none of the portable toilets or hand wash station is on the ground in the worst of the disaster hit zone. It is all carefully planned to frustrate us. It's a careful plan to frustrate the people.
At my personal gate, I live in my constituency. The National Solid Waste Management Authority has failed to maintain consistent collection, and our residents are suffering the consequences. We're deeply concerned about leptospirosis, dengue fever, and other waterborne diseases threatening our people in areas still cut off from proper medical attention. Whether the design is by oversight or the Ministry of Health has omitted the parish of Hanover from its island-wide fogging schedule, I don't know. But believe it or not, Hanover as a parish, we have areas where the water continues to rise. The water has a stench. And up to date, I have not been contacted by anyone from the Ministry of Health to say we are going into these areas to check, to run some tests, to check on the citizens. We have a number of senior citizens in Chigwell, in Forest. These senior citizens have had to travel by means of foot track to get to hospitals, to the 3 out of 10 clinics that we have operating now. Some communities remain isolated. Residents still lack access to potable water. Families are living under tarpaulins or in homes with no roofs. Children are trying to attend schools. I am here today to make our needs absolutely clear. For the most part, Hanover is still technologically marooned. A lot of persons are still not able to get connection. Those Starlinks and generators were given to the government. We did not even receive a single generator to power our constituency office to serve the people that elected us and the entire constituency. We need the Ministry of Health and the local health department to deploy mobile medical units to isolated communities. We also need aggressive vector control measures. We need consistent garbage collection immediately before we face, as I spoke about before, a full-scale disease outbreak. 7 of 10 of the health centers need to be repaired with immediate effect. Our roads need more clearing. Our water systems need restoration. Our schools need immediate structural assessment and repairs so they can serve the essential functions. Our farmers need seeds, and I know there has been an allocation through RADA, but we're asking for more. To the people of Eastern Hanover, I see you. I have walked through your communities. I have witnessed your suffering and your remarkable resilience. You elected me to fight for you, and I will not stop fighting until you receive the help you deserve and the dignity you are owed as a citizen of Jamaica. I want to share stories. And these are not just stories, but things that I've seen with my own eyes. I witnessed the previous Member of Parliament, Dave Brown, driving through my community with the same care packages that the government gave me, only 250 care packages, 5 tarps, and 50 cases.
What I would like to ask the People's National Party, have you reported all of these to the Auditor General? Have you reported all of these to the Auditor General? Hmm?
Of water. To date, that is all that I have received. Now, when a previous member of parliament drives through communities like Haddington, Cocoon, Claremont, Retrieve, Cascade, Hunside, it cannot be 250 care packages that he received. I am asking the government had an opportunity.
Now, this would be government using donor resources to give a private citizen, a political activist, because that's what a caretaker MP is, a private citizen and a political activist. And for the government to have done that, that is breaking protocol. But have they not been doing it right across the whole spectrum, using the resources to buy votes, to create a political name for themselves, to cement themselves in seat, in a political seat, or for a political return? That is what is happening. Other than press conference, how does the PNP plan to deal with these plethora of problems coming out of Melissa's aftermath?
To be great, to look good. After the hurricane, I reached out to JLP caretakers. I left messages for them, and I assured them that whatever relief I receive as Member of Parliament will be shared with them. I did not receive much, unfortunately. Where the assessment is concerned, I sent out a schedule 2 days ago on a community group. It is a very touchy topic, but the government is playing politics. When the Ministry of Labor and Social Security goes to Axandas 2 days, Axandas is a tiny community in Chester Castle Division, and areas like Horton Grove that are 5 times the size of Axandas, still no visits. Tell me there is no politics involved. I want to thank the public sector, the private sector. I want to thank the families from Hanover that are living overseas, the diaspora, for stepping up and helping us. Red Stripe, you came in and you were so amazing. Over 500 care packages. Flo, you came in twice, not once, but 2 times into Chester Castle. Chester Castle is my ground zero in Eastern Hanover. I want to make an appeal to government that the people of Eastern Hanover, they're watching you. The people of Jamaica, they're watching you. The people internationally, people are looking at what you're doing. I am yet to go into some of my strong areas, but I've gone into Pumpkin Bottom, where 80% of the residents voted against me. My mission is one of humanitarian. I cannot be doing politics in such a catastrophic time. And I am asking the government to cut out the PR and get to the people. I have nothing against the Jamaica Defense Force, but I can tell you that I am against the government giving them the care packages to get to our people. I've witnessed myself in Sandy Bay and Hopewell on the main road, 2 trucks off care packages. Our seniors in the lanes are not benefiting. The residents up in Mount Pelion are not benefiting. The residents inland are not benefiting. The people.
Because the government refused to have a coordinated strategy with the MPs of the constituency, the local government, and the organized political workers that them pull out when them a do them election campaign. You still have that structure where you can use so everybody can be reached. Everybody know where the deaf person, the blind person, the old person, the lady or the old man who can't walk. Everybody, somebody in the community know where they are. And it's one of the problem party people experience as well, where yes, down on the sea coast mash up more than everywhere else in a community, but there's just one particular centered on the coastline. And then if you, and this is not government I'm talking about the charity people them. There's so much disorganization. You see, like places like Southwest St. Elizabeth, what makes it difficult for us, especially for the mountainside division, we don't have any representative at local government at the moment. Derek Sangster is just at the central government level either. given that our member of parliament is the Minister of Agriculture, as per the ministerial code, he have to follow the government, everything the government does, cap in hand. So even if Floyd Green is not comfortable with the support he's getting from government, we're going to suffer down a Southwest Central because he cannot advocate for us. So we're just left just like that at the moment because we don't have MP and we don't have councillor.
People of Eastern Hanover deserve better. Finally, to the people of Eastern Hanover, we're strong. We are resilient. We will get our constituency back together. Thank you.
Right, we're going to jump over to Alfred because Jess spoke as well, but pretty much what we knew about already. But we're going to jump over to Alfred and the health part of things.
Recognize is that there is a suboptimal response from the government in this regard. We're going to have our opposition spokesperson for health and wellness, MP Alfred Dawes, to address the matter.
Thank you.
I hate when they refer to him as spokesman. He's the shadow health minister. That's the proper title. The shadow health minister.
To Senator, leader of the opposition, my colleague, members of parliament, journalists here, those who are tuning in, good morning. I also wish to greet those who are tuning in merely with the disgraceful intention of trying to distort what we say and to edit clips to present a false narrative to suit their own agenda. I greet those who have spent their lives playing politics to stop playing politics with people's lives. Today, I give you an update, having met with the technical team at the Ministry of Health, the minister himself, and being on the ground, conducting missions, meeting with persons who are actively involved in trying to improve and assess the health situation in the most badly affected Western parishes. We must give what is due to Caesar. The Ministry of Health has, in fact, done quite a bit, as Dr. Campbell said earlier, in terms of being responsive to deploying some of the clinics and the restoration of services at some clinics and the improvement of the infrastructure of some hospitals, such as Cornwall Regional Hospital, having now had a roof replaced by Médecins Sans Frontières or Doctors Without Borders. We, however, are very concerned about whether or not public health care is getting the attention it deserves. We have to understand that the crisis that is unfolding now out west, it is not merely the realm of the Ministry of Health and the technocrats, doctors, nurses, and vector control workers, public health inspectors. It is not under their control. What is happening is that it is a multidisciplinary, multifaceted approach that is needed to stave off the impending crisis. We are already in the midst of a leptospirosis outbreak, and we could have seen this coming. We ought to focus not only on trying to send out information to say avoid streams and water, avoid rodents, but we ought to look at how we can address the environmental factors that are causing this outbreak. Garbage collection is an issue. It is piling up not just out west, but across the island. even in my constituency that was largely spared from the brunt of the hurricane. Water is an issue. We heard from the MPs that water is rising. In some areas, there is a stench of dead animals, and you cannot simply say to people, avoid contaminated water, when that is the only water that they have available. So we have to look at the cleanup, we have to look at the access, and it is this multimodal approach that we're going to have in tandem with the work of the Ministry of Health that is going to stave off a worsening of the leptospirosis outbreak, as well as try to mitigate, if not completely avoid, the threat of dengue and chickpea. When we speak about leptospirosis being an issue, it is a disease that is largely mild, but when it gets bad, it gets bad. And it can lead to death because of liver failure, bleeding out, renal failure. And therefore, early diagnosis and treatment is essential. Questioning the capacity of the Ministry of Health to adequately confirm cases of leptospirosis. Do we have the capacity locally to test for leptospirosis? What thoughts are being given to deploying rapid kits into affected areas where we can test for the antibodies that are elevated when you have an acute infection? Early testing helped in COVID, and anyone with a passing knowledge of medicine understands that the earlier you intervene in a disease, the better the outcome, as well as the less likelihood you will have long-term complications. So we need to be testing. To say that we have 11 cases of leptospirosis begs questions. Are we testing enough? Are we missing cases? And if we are faced with a national outbreak, can we ramp up testing to have results back to see whether or not the case that we're dealing with in front of us as a physician is really leptospirosis or not? So we need that information from the Ministry of Health. And what are they saying about the use of rapid kits that can be made available at clinics and even with partnerships with private doctors, as well as distribution through volunteers who are going into the communities conducting medical missions. There are still critical shortages of basic medical supplies, manpower, and of course, functioning equipment, some of which would have been damaged during the passage of the hurricane. We know that there are patients who have lost medication because they do not have a fridge that is working, because they do not have a generator. And therefore, you have to be concerned about non-compliance as a result of these socioeconomic factors that are now more than ever playing a role in healthcare. We have gotten some complaints about the process to facilitate missions. There seems to be a lack of coordination on the ground, even if persons are fully registered and they have been listed as partners. They still face some obstacles, whether or not the team on the ground were expecting them, and who are they partnering with to mobilize the people in the community. In many instances, if the members of parliament are not a part of the mission initially, they do not have the wherewithal to rapidly get out persons and mobilize them to take advantage of the free medical services. So again, this is an echo for partnership and not just trying to have hegemony over the relief efforts. And this includes the medical missions. Now, when we speak about the way forward, because this is not going, the situation that exists on the ground is not going away anytime soon. There are too many people who are homeless. There are too many people who are marginally living on the fringes of survival. And as a result of that, the conditions that exist for leptospirosis to continue and for dengue and chickpea to have outbreaks here, we're only 90 miles away from Cuba. and they have more people with leptospirosis, with dengue and chikungunya than there are people living in Jamaica, over 3 million. The conditions exist and they will continue to exist for a while. So we have to plan accordingly. We cannot wait until we see a spike in cases and then we have a knee-jerk reaction. We must be able to anticipate that there will be an outbreak, there will be a spike, certain communities will be affected more likely than others, and we try to stave it off and put in mitigating measures. I don't believe in relying on PAHO. Cuba is dealing with their own epidemics right now. They have best practices that, because of the ratio for quite some time, they're willing to share with us. Let us call on the Cubans for help. They have.
Can we do that, Dr. Dawes? Hmm? That would be best practice. Something that would be beneficial to us, but can we really do that? Wasn't it the same Americans who have taken control of the stage in Jamaica that just sent home our Cuban medical and clinical officials? So can they really? Given that this is all led by Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, the little hand Marco who hates his very own Cuban descendants. Can we really do that? What came out of today's press conference, Jamaica, spells trouble. We have a government, at best, is incompetent. What we also have is a government that is unwilling to take advice. We have a government who have absolutely no plan of how they're going to or continue to deal with the situation we are in. We have a government that is invested in PR and political vote buying using international aid resources. This disgraceful direction that we're on to secure a fourth political term for Andrew Holness will likely to create a health disaster that ravished us more than Melissa have just done.
Have a very good system where they look at the environmental factors. Is there a lot of garbage? Is there a lot of stagnant water? Is there increased rainfall in the area? All of which we know has been described as happening out west. You look at these environmental factors, you look at the behavior of the people. Are they bathing in the rivers? Are they using exposed to contaminated water? You look at their access. Do they have access to healthcare, access to public education, to resources? If they get sick, they can report in or go to a hospital. And of course, you have to look at the history of the area. There are some places in Westmoreland that have a history of typhoid. Now, when you factor in all of these determinants that contribute towards an outbreak, you go in, you engage community leaders, you launch public education campaigns, you clean up the place, sanitize, ensure that you have adequate garbage collection, ensure that you have potable water, you treat breeding sites, you do fogging, get rid of the vectors, and then you may reach a point where you do not have a spike in cases. And that is real primary prevention. That is the basis of public health, which has been proven to work over 100 years now. So maybe 200 years from the cholera epidemic in England. So we want to entreaty those who are in charge of the disaster recovery to employ early warning systems for healthcare now, not just surveillance to say that you have spikes, but predicting the likely locations of outbreaks and intervening. And to do that, you must combine environmental data, behavioral patterns, historical um, outbreaks, and you must also ramp up testing capabilities, confirmation testing, as well as introducing rapid testing. And with that, we can have early intervention, the simple penicillin that can save lives in the case of leptospirosis, or the treatment of renal failure with fluids early out. Dengue, you identify when it has become the hemorrhagic fever where you're bleeding out and have early intervention as well. And we must have a mechanism where you have real-time reporting of fever. If you have a fever, there must be a way for you to report that you have it so that you can get tested. Vector control has to be augmented by private contractors, bringing in back the part-time workers, but the schedule for vector control cannot be such that communities such as mine in Southeast St. Catherine basically have fogging once every 2 weeks at best, and we have 18 communities, and we are plagued with mosquitoes in Portmore. So we have to ramp up vector control immediately, and because garbage pileup leads to rodent infestation, we have to ensure that garbage is being collected across the island in a timely manner. For communities where you cannot effectively solve the issue, especially if there's rising groundwater, evacuate the residents. Get them out of the conditions that are going to lead to respiratory illnesses, waterborne diseases, as well as those that are vector-borne. And of course, you have to, and this is echoing the call of all my colleagues, do not try to do it alone. Engage both sides of the political divide. Engage community-based organizations, the church, community leaders, get everybody on board to identify the most vulnerable, to pinpoint the areas where you have to have a heightened presence. And this is the only way we can have an effective response. We may have to consider looking at the distribution of mosquito nets and repellents to avoid persons who are living outdoors and in shelters getting bitten by mosquitoes. And of course, the Ministry of Health has to anticipate that if all of these measures fail, we're going to have a surge in patients coming into the hospitals. What is the surge plan in terms of bed capacity, in terms of staffing, testing, and treatment? We have to have a preparation, a plan in place for the worst case scenario. And then, of course, rehabilitation, especially when it comes to CHIKV, is important for long-term productivity and pain control. And in all of this, I left this for last. Mental health. People are numb now. They are not feeling and processing what is happening. You cannot have a psychologist or a mental health team going out and tell them better must come and then send them back to their tarpaulins to live. We must have coupled with mental health checks and interventions hope for the people that their conditions will be improved in very short order, and we're not forgetting about them when the news teams have left and they are on their own, and we're looking at this situation as a 9-day wonder. We must have interventions coupled with the psychological effects, psychiatrists getting involved. All of this must be complemented by improvement, tangible improvement in their lives, so you give the people hope. This is where I leave it. This is what is happening on the ground. This is what we must prepare for. And if we don't prepare for it, we can have the expectations that we will pay for it in lives. Thank you.
This is so far where we would leave it tonight. But Jamaica is down the hill. At this precise moment, though, we are at a crossroad. The direction we take from this crossroad decides our future. Unite or perish. Thank you very much for being here tonight. You can't say you never heard the warning from Dr. Dawes in particular. Dr. Dawes' warning matters. If nothing is done, we'll pay for it in lives. But what I want to ask the People's National Party, what else, other than giving us this press conference, do you plan to continue to support this government? Do you plan to continue to sit in Parliament and vote along with them while there is no meaningful participation? And how will the power that the people of Jamaica given you at the general election, 14 more seats, how will that serve the people if you continue to work along with a government who refuses to cooperate? Thank you and good night.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just a fly and I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night, we gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war and cry. Fight down, me say Rastafari. War and cry and do that righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Save all people. And we love Jah. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Save all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. So just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace while we penalize day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down, war and cry. Fight down, war and cry. Rastafari, war and cry. And build up righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. We love all. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Preserve all. Me love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Jah Rastafari. Jah Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.